Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to my first webinar. I want to thank everybody for showing up. I know it's a Saturday and we all have so much going on. I know in my house I certainly do, between my kids and my dogs and my husband. So again, I just want to thank you for being here, and I want to send a special thank you to Melissa, who's helping me on the other end of this. So what I'd like to do is I would like to take just a moment, and actually I want to let you know that the chat box is private, so anyone that's in here can send me a message at any moment. I'm actually going to scroll down so I can see the messages. And it'll just be between you and me, so you can certainly send me anything, and no one will see it. So first, I just want to give you my reason for doing this webinar. I'm a certified transformational health coach, and my reason for being here and for doing this is there is just too much body shame and body hatred. It's completely out of control. I don't know how many of you have seen the videos that are kind of going around where they interview, I think the last one was done in Australia, and she went around and she interviewed, I want to say like 20 women, and asked them how they felt about their body. And only one out of everybody that she interviewed said that she felt good in her own skin. And to me, that is just completely unacceptable. And I think that something needs to be done about that. So I gave up my career that I've been in for 25 years and went back to school so I could do just that. So I'm going to go into that a little bit more when we get more into the webinar. But what I want to do in the very beginning is just kind of get us all here, get us all grounded, because again, I know it's the weekend and I appreciate that you're giving your time here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something that I do before I talk to every client. So I'm just going to have everybody kind of just get comfortable in your chair, feel your bottom touching your chair, your feet planted on the ground. And we're just going to close our eyes. We're going to do 3 breaths in and out just to get us here. So I would love everyone just to close their eyes. Rub your hands together. Put them at your chest or whatever's comfortable. They can go on your lap as well. And I just want everybody to take a very slow, deep breath in. And a deep breath out. And a deep breath in. And out. And again, in. And out. And what I'd love you to just allow the centering thought to be for the next 40 minutes is, what is it I really desire? What do I really want? And I would love everybody just to really show up today with a curious mind. And with your eyes closed, just shake your hands out. And open your eyes and come back. And I hope you feel as calm as I do. It always helps, just to get us grounded. And what's really great about that is that we actually are much more open and willing to hear new things. So one more quick thing I just want to go through is keeping this safe space for everybody here. I know a lot of us here have had a lot of shame, a lot of issues with our bodies and food. And so just showing up today is very brave. So I just want to make sure that everything that's talked about in here stays here. So the reason I decided to do these 3 webinars is, again, like I talked about before, I just want to really make a change. I want women to start just seeing how incredibly powerful we are and owning our value. So I'm going to quickly go through my story. And I do have notes, so I'm going to be looking back and forth on the notes because, like I said, this is my first webinar. So it took me until I was 50, I'm 53 now, to really realize that I was coming from a critical place. My whole life, honestly, I can actually remember being really young and kind of sneaking into the refrigerator all the time when my parents and brother were watching TV. So food's always been a comfort. you know. It's always been a very kind of shameful but comforting thing. So I've been a, you know, chronic dieter, an emotional eater. Honestly, I would say from 8 years old up to when I was 50. In fact, if anyone wants to write down, it's funny, I kind of would like to see any diets that anybody's tried. And I promise you, I guarantee you I've tried them. So you can certainly, I would actually love to see that. And again, this is private. No one will see this but me. So, you know, it took me a long time to really realize that that didn't work anymore, that I had to start to make changes, that it had to come from within. And when it hit me was, I don't know how many of you have read my story. It's on my website. It's been in a couple articles, but I was 50 or 51. I can't really remember, but I was getting out of the shower and I actually thought I was in a great place. I thought I've attracted a man that I love. We have a beautiful home. Life is going great, you know, but I was getting out of the shower. I was still dieting and I caught myself saying horrific things to myself. I mean, things that, I hope everyone can hear me. Let me know if you can't hear me. Hopefully you can. But I don't really have any enemies, but if I did, I would never talk to enemies the way I was talking to myself. And it shocked me. It really did, because I thought I had, excuse my French, but I thought I had my shit together. And there I was, just telling myself I was a fat pig. I was getting all my weight back. My husband's going to leave me. I don't deserve happiness. It all just came out and bam, there it was. So I sat and I just started crying. I mean, I just felt completely hopeless. Like, if I'm still doing this now, how will I ever change? So I discovered at that time, and I'm actually going to show these books in a little bit, but I decided I had to change it within myself. No more looking for things, no more the quick fix, no more diets. They had not worked once for sustainable weight loss. So I discovered Jeanine Roth. It was probably backwards, but she's phenomenal. I've seen her lecture twice, and her story is just very similar to mine with the eating and the shame, and just learning to finally listen to her body. It made me feel like I wasn't alone, because I think the biggest issue with a lot of us that are emotional eaters, we feel really alone and we feel so shamed and so embarrassed. So to actually see that not only have other women and men, but my clients are women, have gone through this, but they've healed themselves. So this was a huge help. And then of course, I love Marc David, love him. And I'll go into him a little bit later. But he really, I feel, was the pioneer of the no diet diet. And that to me, it absolutely terrified me to hear that, because I thought, oh my God, no diet. How can I possibly survive without following a diet? But I learned to be comfortable being uncomfortable, to accept that I don't always have to feel like I'm at the perfect place in my body. I can love her no matter what. And that was a really big step. And this allowed me to learn to step outside my comfort zone. And trust me, I would never be here today. This is so outside my comfort zone. I would never be here today if I hadn't done the inner work. And if I didn't have Melissa. So anyways, you know, I'm here. My absolute passion is to help women heal their relationship with their body and their relationship with food. And to realize that you don't need to spend any more time buying the next diet book or doing the next quick fix, because it's not going to last. It's not sustainable. So I'm actually going to put up a slide. Let's see if I remember how to do this. Okay, here we go. All right, did it. Excellent. Oop, that is not the one I wanted to show. Hang on a second. Here we go. Perfect. Okay. So this is really kind of the core of my coaching, is that diets simply don't work. Now, the reason they don't work is because they only focus on changing our body without ever looking at the reason that we're holding on to the weight. And I really want to emphasize holding on to the weight, okay? The inner work, the inner healing must come first. So let me see if I can get rid of this now. Okay. There we go. There we go. Ooh, I did it. Okay. So dieting, how many of you have tried every diet on planet Earth? I mean, I can't think of one diet that I haven't tried. The last one was completely brutal. I mean, I won't go into that diet, but it's honestly a miracle that I came out of it. It was just a horrible diet. But it's constantly looking outside yourself for a magical plan, something like a magic quick fix that will make everything in your life perfect. Because how often do we do that? We're like, well, if I lose 20 pounds, I'll get the perfect job, or I can meet the perfect man. I can finally get on the dating side. I can finally go to the beach. You know, we put all these expectations to this like end result. And it's really setting yourself up to fail because it's never addressing the root problem. And I know for me, like I said, I've done a trillion diets and never been sustainable. And honestly, if I could add and subtract all the pounds that I've gained and lost, that in the comment section, I don't even think there would be room for it. So, and I'm sure a lot of us have been there. So what I want to talk about, why diets don't work, because it actually is scientific. It's pretty interesting. So all of us have masculine and feminine energy, and it's a good thing because as women, our masculine energy gets us through work. It gets us to get these tasks done so that we can actually, you know, make a living and do these things that are kind of in masculine energy, because that is a very get it done, right? So diets don't work. For women, they work great for men because men, that's how their brain works. Like, I got to get A through D done. I'm going to do it this way. Bam. In fact, so many of my clients say to me, my husband has no problem losing weight and he does completely fine on diets. You know, what's wrong with me? And I always say there is nothing wrong with you. It's because diets don't work for women. You know, women come from a very much, how will this feel? You know, we're creative, that's feminine. And we like to process things, that's feminine. And we work so much better coming from, how does this feel in my body? How is this working? How is this comfortable? So for most women, you know, we have to feel good about what we're eating. And that's, again, why diets don't work, is how often are we told we have to eat these things that we can't even stand, you know? So eating's about being creative. It's about having pleasure. It's about paying attention to our bodies. Most diets are restrictive and they're based on rules. Like if you eat, you know, pizza, you've screwed up. And then you figure, oh, I screwed up. I'm a loser. Why do I keep sabotaging myself? And you're not. It's just that that's not how we work as women. So that's why for most women, diets fail. And I'm kind of a fact nerd. For those of you who know me, I love to Google and find things. And, you know, I was curious when dieting first started, and actually it's been around for centuries. But in the 19th century, the current diets were kind of formed. And there was a man named Reverend Sylvester Graham. And the reason why Graham may sound familiar to you is he invented the graham cracker. And he was a reverend, and he created diets to control sexual urges. I mean, I had to read that like 5 times and cross-check it because I thought, oh my, what? I mean, talk about a restrictive diet, right? So this is how absurd diets are. This is not listening to our body, you know, which is, it's like our birthright to eat, to enjoy food. So and I don't want to be hard on men, because most men have started diets. And again, Marc David he's an incredible man who is so in tune to how, you know, the masculine and feminine energy work. I give this book to all my clients, and I would highly recommend it. If you're not one of my clients and you haven't already gotten it, it's called Nourishing Wisdom. It's backwards probably, but by Marc David. And he has another one as well. Just going to quickly, the Slow Down Diet. Again, this isn't about dieting. It's about slowing down and enjoying your food. Oh, I just go on such a tangent about this stuff. Anyway, so I'm going to show another slide. So I'm just going to see if I can figure this out again. Here we go. Okay, so this slide is all about where we begin. So we have to start with accepting where we are now. And I'll take it even a step further. We have to appreciate where we are now. And I have clients that sometimes say, how can I possibly accept or appreciate my body right now? I can't stand it. So I'm going to tell you a little story because, can I say, I'm Irish and I love stories. And to me, I have a very visual mind. So if I can actually picture something, it's easier for me to kind of take it in. So we have a dog. And for anyone that's on here that's friends with me, you know how much I love my dogs. They're like our children. My daughter always says she has furry siblings. But he had this really awful like growth on his back. So we took him to the vet. And the vet said to us, you know, we'll have to shave it and we'll have to give you ointment and, you know, all this stuff. So they shaved it. And I cannot tell you how disgusting this open sore was. It was just really gross. I won't go into details, but I just thought, oh my God. But I want you to, for a moment, think about what would have happened to my very needy dog had we said, ugh, yuck, that's so ugly. I don't want to look at this dog until he looks as beautiful as he did a month ago. Forget it. Keep him here. What would have happened to him? I mean, think about it. He would have withered away. Probably would have died because he's so needy, you know, and he would have felt so unloved. So we brought him home. We nurtured him. We fed him food with salmon oil and blueberries and all this stuff to really get his body feeling good and heal. And we loved him the whole time. We held him and bought him these little silly booties so he wouldn't scratch himself. And he healed. He is back to his normal, beautiful, you know, uneasy, sore mess. So just for a moment, think about this with your own body. Think about the parts of our bodies that we dislike, that we ignore, that we're mean to. How can we possibly become the healthiest version of ourselves when we can't stand ourselves? You know, this is so important. You know, and I want to say something, you know, you don't have to say, this is where I want to be forever. This isn't about that. But this is about accepting where you are now. This is your body the day you were born. This is going to be your body the day you die. And your body works tirelessly for you, protecting you in ways that you might not even see or understand right now. So I want you to accept her. I want you to say, here's where I'm at. This is where I am right now. And I'm going to accept her. I'm going to appreciate her. And the reason that I have like a little puzzle in this picture, my little artwork, is because this is what I usually talk to with my clients. So I want you to picture that you have a box with a jigsaw puzzle in it, okay? And you're going to shake it up, right? And you're just going to toss it in the air and it's going to land all over the place. It's literally your room is just pieces of puzzles. And over there is your stomach you can't stand. Over there is your butt. You know, I mean, all these parts of you are just everywhere, including the ones you like, those you pay attention to. You know, like some women are like, well, I love my cleavage, so I'm just going to rock that, but I'm certainly going to hide the rest because I can't stand it. I don't want to look at it. So what happens here is by excluding parts of our body, we create a war within ourselves. One side's attacking, the other side's protecting. So this is a war that we just simply will never win. You cannot possibly win this war. So by accepting where we are, we actually start to calm down. And again, I'm not saying this is where you have to be forever. This is really important to take note on because this is a journey of becoming the healthiest version of you. But you're starting right here. So by accepting this, you're actually calm and you're not in stress mode and you're able to pay attention to what you want. And again, back to the female energy, what feels good. We lose anxiety. We lose the judgment. And what I'm going to talk about in a minute is we can start to be curious about what's really working. Because shame and blame keeps us stuck in just that cycle of re-attracting what doesn't work. So the first step is just inviting all pieces back, calling them home and loving them up. And I know that can be difficult. For me, it was very difficult. I've always hated my stomach. I can't even remember a time that I didn't hate my stomach. I love it now. But it was very hard for me to love what I found repulsive for so many years. But when I did, I started to take better care of her, and my body started to balance. So this is really a huge one. So I just, and I know this slide's still up, but I just want to quickly say that being thin will not give you the life you desire. It just won't. Being happy, healthy, feeling content will. And by starting here where you are now and accepting it, your body will naturally balance because she's able to ask what she wants and you're actually listening. And how this is really an interesting question. I mean, how can we expect to attract unconditional love when we have so many conditions around loving ourselves? So just kind of sit with that for a minute. So back to me. So, where do we start? Okay, this is all great, but how can I possibly start when I'm really still at war with myself? I mean, that's all fine and great, but where do I begin? So I'm going to say something really simple. Be curious. Be curious. I mean, write that. I don't know if you guys are taking notes, but write that in bold letters. Be curious. When we're curious instead of critical, we're able to actually take all the stress away. And just picture that for a moment. Like, picture that you just ate. For me, it was always salt and vinegar chips. I know I tell that story all the time, but I used to eat like a bag of them, and I would be like so furious, have all this stress in my stomach, and oh, I'm a loser. And then when I started to say, wonder why I ate that bag of salt and vinegar chips, I kind of was able to look at it in a way that I was watching out for myself and go a little bit deeper and say, how do I feel right now? I feel really awful. How do I want to feel? My goal is to feel light and healthy. So how can I get there next time? What could I do differently next time? So see, this war is softening up. You're now actually listening. That stressful wall is being taken down. So being curious instead of critical is just really a beautiful place to start, because you're just asking, how could I have done this better? We are all human, and trust me, no one's perfect. Just let that perfect person rest over there for a while, because no one's perfect, So I'm going to go into this next time a little bit heavier, but this particular webinar, I really want to stick in very simple, being curious and really looking at what you want. But I'm going to talk about conflict in a minute. So I'm just going to really briefly go over how our brain works, because what's really interesting is there's so much more to getting what you want than just reading a book that says, follow these 7 steps and you'll be perfect. Again, has that ever worked? I mean, if this stuff worked, I wouldn't be here, and neither would, Mark David or all the fabulous coaches out there or all the fabulous leaders that are talking about body love. They wouldn't be here. So the stuff, it has not worked. The obesity is out of control. Self-hatred is out of control. So we are doing it wrong. Okay, so it's time to start tuning in to how smart we are. Okay, so sorry about my little rant there, but so I want to introduce how our brain works, because once we know what really goes into forming our beliefs, and this gets a little heavy, so bear with me, but our beliefs, our core beliefs are formed when we're babies, pre-linguistic. Okay, so in other words, if mom's ignoring me, I'm forming a belief and I'm putting meaning around what love is, what I deserve. I'm not lovable. It's our way of making sense of things when we're infants, because we're survival. If we make it about mom or the world, we can't survive. So we in turn make it about ourselves. I'm not lovable. So this is how we make sense of what's happening. And these beliefs are formed so early. It's like sensory inputs before we're even able to talk. So, that's why, again, when the book of the month saying be a new person, follow, I've seen so many of these self-help books, but they don't go down to the core issues. So this is a kind of a simple explanation of our brains. And again, we'll go into this next time. And if I'm losing anybody, please make a comment. So we have the logical part of our brain, which is trying to make sense of everything. Then we have the emotional part of our brain that's concerned with love, safety, and belonging. Okay, then we have the physical part of our brain, and this is our very, for lack of a better word, our very basic brain. Okay, this is a brain that gets triggered and goes into fight or flight mode, which is, unfortunately, in modern days with all the stress, we are in fight or flight mode constantly. So see, there's so much more going on, and it's really not just about getting the green light of, yes, I want to lose 10 pounds. It's actually getting the green light from all of us. So that's why it's not as easy. So don't be hard on yourself. So right now, I'm going to talk about wants and conflicts, because this is what really we're going to focus on today. So your want, and I'm going to talk about weight, because most of my clients come in wanting to lose weight. It could be anything though, okay? But your want needs to be stronger than the conflicting belief, or what's been keeping you stuck, what's been keeping you safe. Because, and this is a writer-downer, we repeat the same habits because that which is survivable is worth repeating. And I'm going to say that again. We repeat the same habits because that which is survivable is worth repeating. So you might not be happy, but you're alive and you're here. So this side of you, the conflict, is saying, I'm not changing anything because we're here, we're safe. No way. And the best way, with another little story, is for me to talk about when I was still in school, and it was my first client, and she gave me permission to tell this story. She wanted to lose 20 pounds. Every time I said, what do you want? 20 pounds. Like, she just was, I want to lose, I don't care about anything else. I want to lose 20 pounds. So we started to talk about this is a few sessions in, we started to talk about the last time that she had been at her ideal weight. And she discovered, or she remembered, that it was in 11th grade. She had kind of, grown and kind of gotten in this place where she was like feeling really confident and, oh, I'm rocking it, and started to wear, clothes that were kind of tight and made her feel sexy, 11th grade, So she had her first boyfriend. And on like their 4th date, they were alone, and he was pushing her to have sex. But really, this was not just gentle. She felt threatened. Now, luckily, she was scared she was going to get raped. Luckily, it didn't happen. But sadly, he railed her, like, you're dressing like a slut, and you're a tease, and all this stuff. And what was really hard for her, bad enough this happened, but some of her friends turned on her because he was a popular boy. They all wanted to go out with him. And her friends started to say, well, why'd you tease him? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do this? And she was devastated. And, her safety and belonging was triggered. Fight or flight, man. Went in, right? So she started to gain weight, and by the time she was in college, in her 2nd year, she had put on 60 pounds. Now, she saw that as a horrible thing. Like, I've become fat, I've become all this stuff. But what she didn't look at was this going on, right? She wanted to lose weight, but her body was saying, no frickin' way, man, I am protecting you because look what happened last time you were thin. I'm keeping you safe. We're staying here, So what we did is we realized, I allowed her to actually see that at that time, gaining weight and holding on to it was the best choice. At that time, her body felt gaining weight and holding on to it was the best choice to protect her. So what we did, and again, any clients that are in here, I do this with you, but we actually got in there and we looked at where she felt this in her body every time she talked about that event where she felt it, and we got it out. So in other words, let's just look at it like this. This is her desire. I want to lose 20 pounds. This is the conflict. No frickin' way. So we got this. There was a fear. She felt it right here, right in the top of her stomach, to actually come out and talk about what it was afraid of, and like how there's no way in the world that it was ever going to allow her to be in that position again. And the only way it knew was to keep her heavier, to keep her protected. I mean, would you mess with a bear? I mean, a bear is big. So I think when we're in fear, we tend to get bigger. It protects us. It's just how nature works. So we really took some time, took a few sessions to really get in there and show fear that it had choices. It had choices besides keeping the weight on. And again, when we're little, we don't have a lot of choices because it's about survival. We just do not have choices. But as we get older and we're able to look at our desires, we're able to say there are more choices than holding on to weight. So, and this is going to sound nutty probably, because I'm all about talking to the different parts of your body. It's so important. So we started to look at new choices and making a deal with fear. Like, okay, what if I started to work out more and started to get in touch with my body and felt more powerful? How would that, does that feel safer? Maybe, I don't know. It still sounds really scary. Well, what about if I make a deal with you that I will listen? I will listen to when you're scared or feeling threatened. And we can always go back to here. But what about if we try something new? And see what happened was this side started to say, okay, I'm willing to try that. So now she's working together. There was no more of this, because this is what the war with yourself feels like. Your want and your conflict is just banging their heads against each other. And that's why a lot of times when we're dieting, we feel like we just keep hitting dead ends, but we're not. We just haven't looked at the inner conflict. You guys, it's so powerful. That's why I love this so much. So it's really looking at new wants, new ways of feeling protected, and actually addressing what this is afraid it's going to lose. In this instance, it was afraid that it was going to lose its safety and have women tell her that she looks like a slut, or boys feel like they can take advantage of her. So it was building that you can trust me now. And she's amazing. She actually got into yoga and working out and got really strong. She, I don't know how my clients weigh themselves, but she says she thinks she lost about 10 pounds. So the 20 huge goal wasn't there, but she was so like landed at that perfect sweet spot that she feels confident. She's actually doing really well. And it's just a really beautiful story to show you how when you get these two to work together, that's when a change can happen. So now I'm going to put up another slide. And this one, for anyone that knows, my friends will really start to laugh. Okay, hang on. Here we go. Right. So this is about being stressful and calm while we're eating. And as you can see in this picture, and I did this on purpose, I put a picture of a very calm woman eating, I think what it looks like, pumpkin loaf. And then you can see in the other picture, which is my friend Allie, she's eating berries, but she's so stressed out. Now, the funny thing here is when you're stressed, no matter what you eat, you can't lose weight. Your body goes in again to the fight or flight mode. And I do have people that will say to me sometimes, well, I always lose weight when I'm stressed, but that's not healthy weight. That's not, and it's not sustainable weight, because that's just from not eating because you're stressed. Okay, so the goal is to feel calm while you're eating. This allows the body to rest and digest instead of eating when you're stressed, which causes our body to tense up and shut down. And like that picture, it could be a bowl of berries. Those berries are going to be stored. So I'm just going to repeat, stress causes weight gain. Even if you're eating berries, stress causes weight gain. So when you're reaching for food, okay, I'm just going to get rid of this picture. Okay, there we go. So when you're eating food, I always tell my clients something that's very opposite of what probably some coaches tell them, or maybe if you've ever gone to a trainer. when you want something, especially for those of us, and I was an emotional eater, if I want a cookie and I don't allow myself to eat it, that cookie's just going to get its own voice. Cookie, I want it. Oh my God, I just really want that cookie. And I'm going to think about it. It's going to become like this centering thought, for the whole day. So what I say to my clients and what worked for me is I say, go for it. Have the cookie, but have it differently. First of all, no sneaking, because as an emotional eater, a lot of us tend to eat in secrecy, and then we have shame. So no sneak eating. I don't care if it's one berry or a cookie or a bag of or chips, a bowl of chips. I want it on a plate. I want you to, when you're going to eat it, I want you to really look at it, smell it. Remember, eating's supposed to be pleasurable, okay? No matter what it is. So I want you to just smell it. I want you to chew it really slowly because that actually helps kick in the digestive enzymes, gets everything working. I want the flavors to just explode in your mouth. I want you to taste everything you're eating. Honestly, I want this to be an incredibly sensual experience. I want it to be, that is the best cookie I've ever had in my life, okay? And what's going to happen here are a couple things. You're actually going to taste it and you're going to be present. So more than likely, at some point, you're going to actually realize you're satisfied and you don't need to have any more of the cookie. Or you can make a deal like, I think I'm done, but if I want more, I can go back in an hour. Again, you're creating choices. Instead, you might just not even put it on a plate, just cram it down, and you don't even know. First of all, you don't even realize you ate a cookie because it was just done in like zombie mode. Okay, so this is a very different experience. And what happens is when we eat slowly and we eat mindfully and we allow pleasure, we're going into a parasympathetic mode. That's the mode where we're restful, we digest, the body is calm, okay? Now, when we're in sympathetic, which is stressed out, cramming it down your mouth, oh God, I don't want anyone to see me, and now I feel guilty, why did I eat that cookie? You're in sympathetic, and that's like your body going, danger, so now it goes into fight or flight. Everything, the body speeds up, you tense up, you become more alert, but your functions are basically in survival mode, so everything else shuts down, your digestion, everything. So here's an interesting fact, because you know me, I'm a fact nerd, like I said before. But this is an instinctual behavior from our earliest times that our body had no idea to this day. So in other words, this is such an old belief in you, or an old instinctual behavior. So if you're stressed out eating a cookie, your body has no idea whether a giant bear is running towards you, or you're just stressed out because you're eating, or I say always eat undistracted, because if you're eating and you're reading an email that has you upset because it's like a work email, again, you're going to go into fight or flight. And again, your body's like, is a bear coming or what's going on? I'm stressed, shut down. So there's a really great coach. I don't have her book to show you, but her name is Jenna LaFlamme, and she wrote a book on pleasurable eating. And she's very much into womanhood and feminine and getting to know and love your body. So I will post all these in my Facebook group. So the next thing I'm going to go into is I'm going to talk about, I'm actually going to pull up one more. Here we go. Screen share for you guys. So I hope you're seeing the whole picture. I'm only seeing half of it, but you guys will be emailed it, so don't worry. But so this is something, again, because I don't want to go into, we're not going to go too far today, because one thing I've learned with my clients and my experience of coaching, and my experience actually with myself, is that small changes, small steps make the biggest changes. So I don't want to like overwhelm you guys with, every single thing today. That's why we're going to do three webinars. But the mind map is really fun. And the reason it's colorful, and so try to print it out in color, because our brain is really interesting. It registers to bright, fun, colorful things. That's why vision boards really work well, because I have one, I wish you could see it. It's kind of 3D. I have so much fun. I take tape and I make certain images pop out. So during the day when I'm working, I can actually look over and just get really excited seeing what I want, you know. And I have to tell you, last year I accomplished everything that was on my vision board, and I have it so I could see it all day long. So I would love you guys to do that as well. But this mind map, it's really, I don't want you to overthink it. This is going to be for you guys to take at the end of this. This is really just meant to open up your mind to really looking at what it is you want. And I want you to pretend like you're on that, I don't know how old you guys are, but there was a show called Fantasy Island, and it was kind of creepy, but it was a show about, you know, every fantasy you had, you could go to this island and it would happen. So I want you to just like have fun with this, and just, you could print 10 of these, honestly, and no one will ever see this but you. This is strictly for you to keep. So just start to write in things you desire, and it doesn't have to be about your body. It could be, you know, I want to meet a hot man, I want to get a new car, I want to get a new job, I want 10 clients, I want to lose some weight, I want to feel better in my body. Just start to put down all the things you desire, and I want you to put it somewhere where you'll see it. Again, I don't need to see this, you're not going to share this in the group, but try to just put it somewhere where you'll see it. This is for you. And one thing I would love you to kind of take note on is when you feel resistance. And again, you're not going to judge it. You're just going to be curious. And you could even write it down somewhere. So for instance, if I'm writing, I want to go to Tahiti, and inside of me, I'm like, you're never going to go to Tahiti this year, right? So that's a little resistance. And I'm just going to be curious about it. Well, why not? Like, why? Anything can happen. But just kind of like listen, because this is where we're going to start to break down those conflicting thoughts you have to your wants. So just have fun, go to town, just let it be something that's enjoyable. And I'm, like I said, I couldn't figure out, actually I did figure out a way. What am I saying? You guys can actually go on, if you look over at the chat box, you should see something that says get my map here. And I hope, if I did it right, you can click on that, and you should be able to download it. So let me know. Again, you can comment. Nobody's commenting yet, I don't think, unless I'm doing something wrong. So just feel free to do that. So I'm going to come back to me, and I just recap what I talked about. Diets don't work. This is about learning to tune in to yourself, because I'm tired of everyone giving their power away. I mean, why would this strange man who I've never met that wrote a book, why would he know what works for my body? Why would I want to give all my power to him? You know, that's BS, right? I know my body. I know what she likes. I know what feels good. Okay, I like to eat, but now I love to make foods that are healthy and make my body feel good. But it's what I know is good for me, okay? So acceptance, accepting and appreciating where you are now. Because remember the story about the girl? Her body was doing a beautiful job of keeping her safe. And when she realized that, we actually did a whole thing where she had to go in and really thank her, because it's not enough saying, oh, you did a great job. It's going in and saying, my God, you did such a beautiful job of protecting me. Loving it up, okay? Because this is a belief that's kept you safe for a very, very, very long time, and it needs a lot of validation. So be curious instead of being critical, you know. Think about it. You know, if a little infant, you know, think about, I don't know if you have kids, but my daughter, when she was learning to walk, she fell like, oh my God, it was hilarious. I mean, she'd walk and she'd fall, but then she'd get up and walk again. She was never hard on herself, like, oh, I failed, I'm never going to walk, you know. No, she just tried something else. She pulled herself up another way. So when we're curious, we're able to move forward and try new things. The choices become much larger. and looking at the wants and the conflicts. And that's something, again, we're going to dig into a lot. I just want you to focus on the wants this week. We'll go into the conflicts in the next 2 weeks. So, whew, almost, my goodness. I would take a sip of water. So I quickly want to just kind of give my kind of final thoughts. It's really important to remember that when we hate our body, we hold on to weight. I mean, I think probably that makes sense. It's probably a little easier to understand now, hopefully, having gone through all this other stuff. You know, it's impossible to lose weight in a sustainable way when we're stressed out, angry, and feeling deprived. Deprivation just simply doesn't work. It just doesn't. It never has. It never will. And your belonging, and this is another writer downer, your belonging can never be greater than your self-worth. Your belonging can never be greater than your self-worth. So really owning what a magnificent woman you are, you know, and knowing that everything you deserve is possible, you know, and this may not be easy in the beginning, because for me, I had so much shame and I just didn't feel like I deserved a beautiful life. I had a beautiful life, but not inside of my body. I was freaking miserable, you know, I was torment and turmoil and just a mess, you know, but finally realizing that I was valuable, you know, I offer value to those around me, and owning that value, you know, and once you really start to feel that way and really start to own it, because you can think it, but you got to own it. Once you start to own it, all you desire, I mean, honestly, all you desire, the doors just start to open up because you're ready to receive it. You're ready, you know, and when you love your body, you relax into life. Your body works the way it's meant to, and it balances. It can't be backwards, see? It has to start here. So what I wanted to offer you guys today is a gift, because it's really brave that you showed up. And on a Saturday, I mean, I don't know if Saturdays are the best day to do this, but experimenting is the best way to learn, really, isn't it? So, but I wanted to offer a gift to anyone that showed up in this webinar today. It should be over on the side, I think. Let me know if it isn't. And I would like to offer a free 90-minute intensive call. I don't ever offer these for free because 90-minute calls are really, they take a lot out of me. You know, I love doing them, but it's not like a 45-minute call. This is like 90 minutes, really, really doing transformational coaching. So it's a great way to dig deep. So again, we can actually go into wants and conflicts in this 90 minutes. Absolutely. So it's a great way to dig deeper. It's a great way to experiencing me one-to-one as a coach. It's my favorite way to coach. I love one-to-ones. They're just magnificent. And this offer will only be up through tomorrow night, Valentine's Day, which happy Valentine's Day to everybody here. I love everything. I love celebrating anything. So again, I just really want to thank you guys for being in here and taking time out. And if there's any questions, I don't see any questions yet. I had a couple emailed to me, so I'm going to go into those. I'm going to answer those. But if you have any questions, just pop them on over. One I had gotten emailed to me this morning was, how can I love my body when it feels so uncomfortable? And I know that feeling. I have been there. When I stopped dieting, I gained all of my weight back plus some. So it was very, very hard for me. But one thing I really wanted to do was to love myself at my heaviest so that I could in turn tell my clients it's possible, because I did not want to be one of those BS coaches that was like, oh yeah, you can do it. I've never done it, but you can do it. So I really wanted to know it's doable. So what I did, Number one, I stopped wearing clothes that were uncomfortable. Like if I put on jeans, they felt tight, I would just put something else on, you know, a dress, a skirt, leggings, I mean, whatever that felt good, that the fabric felt good on my body and I didn't feel squished into something. Number one, because when you have something super tight, you're just aware of it. And you want to come from accepting and appreciating, okay? So number two, you just slowly start to look at what you love about yourself. I mean, start out simple. It could be your hair. It could be your fingers. Slowly start to tell yourself what you love. And then you have to go a little bit deeper. You have to start really touching your body, which I know this is back to the dog story. You know, had I not touched my dog or held her, even though I was like, oh God, that sore looks so gross, you know, but had I not held her, she would have never, Ziggy, would have never gotten healthy. So it's same with our body. If you know, when my tummy used to bug me so much, and I started to actually rub it and go, I love you, tummy. You know, you have done so much for me. And slowly, I accepted my body, and slowly, my body balanced. Okay, and I am so comfortable in my own skin now. It's a. Had you told me like 49, you know, when you're older, you know, in your 50s, you're gonna love your body, I would have said never, but I do. Okay, so the other question. So hopefully that answered that question. You know, if it didn't, okay, good. So should I count calories? No, I am anti-counting calories. And here's why. Again, it's going into that masculine energy and you're stressing out about, oh my God, I just had a 200 calories. First of all, calories register so different in our bodies. I mean, if you have like 3 apples, or you have a Snickers bar, it's the same calories, but the apples are actually going to go in. It's real food. It's going to do it's going to be digested differently. It's going to do a completely different thing than that Snickers bar is, okay? So absolutely not. I want people to connect to their body and pay attention to when your body says, I'm happy, I'm satisfied, okay? Because your body knows. There is no way in the world that everyone, you know, 1,300 calories works for everybody. I'm sorry, I do not believe that. So that's my answer to that. So those were the 2 questions that I had sent to me, and I guess that's it. If anything else, is there any other comments or thoughts, or did anyone have any confusion over what I covered? I'll give it like a couple seconds, and it doesn't look like anything came through. So that's good news. I'm going to take it as everything registered. And I just, again, want to thank you guys so much. This has been really fun, a great experience. And I want everyone here to know that they can hop in and join my Facebook group. It's called Live It, Love It. I think it's actually called Live It, Love. It's called Live It, Love It, Be a Lighter You. But I think on Facebook it's still called Live It, Love It, Live It, Love It, Be It, Losing Weight with Love. But if there's any confusion there, just send me an email. It's Alison, ALISON, at soulfulmindandbody.com. Again, ALS. Wait, I can't spell my name. ALISON at soulfulmindandbody.com. Shoot me an email if you have any questions about today. Anyone that's ever worked with me knows that I love talking to my clients, to people that just have questions. So I'm here for you. Thank you so much. And I cannot wait for next month. I'll post the next webinar in March. Okay, you guys, thank you so much. Have a beautiful rest of the weekend and happy Valentine's Day. Do something really good for you tomorrow. Self-love, self-love, self-love. Okay? Bye. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you.